And in about 1.2 seconds, all of a sudden, you're frustrated, mad, and upset.
You may never say I'm angry, but you may say I'm frustrated, or I'm disappointed, or I'm upset.
Now, I want you to know that anger is not always an inappropriate response. It's not always wrong.
Said another way, is it possible that at times getting angry isn't wrong? Well, I would say the opposite. I would say that at times, if you don't get angry, that would be wrong.
Actually, anger can be an evidence of love. Somebody tries to hurt my kids or grandkids or my wife, I'm going to get angry. That's an appropriate response.
Let's say I'm at home with my wife and my kids and someone came in and tried to hurt my family. I think it would be wrong for me not to get angry.
And there are some things that you ought to get angry about. I get angry about injustice in the world. I get angry about greed in the world. I get angry about racism in the world.
I think if you see a kid bullying another kid in the street, whether it's your kid or not your kid, I think you get angry. I think it's wrong not to get angry. If you see injustice, if you see racism, if you see abuse, and you don't get angry, then that's wrong.
And the Bible says God gets angry. God has emotions too, you know. That's why you're an emotional person.
Because I look at our Lord Jesus Christ. Did he ever get angry? Oh yeah, he got angry.
Relationships, we got to learn how to deal with anger, how it shows up, how to deal with it in our own lives, and how to diffuse it in the lives of others.
And we really want to focus on that response of how we respond when we get angry.
In Ephesians 4:26 in the Bible, it says, when you get angry, do not sin, which obviously implies there's a way to get angry and not sin, that not all anger is sin.
Our theme verse that's going to carry us through the next 4 weeks together is Ephesians 4:26, which says it so plainly and so simply and so clearly. It says, be angry and do not sin. Be angry and do not sin. So by the fact that that's in the scriptures, well, what that's telling us is there's a way to be angry in a sinful way and be angry in a non-sinful way.
Now, the Bible identifies 4 different ways that we express anger.
So what I want to look at right off the bat here is I think there's 4 kind of ways that people express anger.
The first category of way people express anger is what I call the machine guns.
Some people, when they get angry, it's like getting shot with a shotgun.
And the machine guns are people who they just let you have it. You know, they just mow you down. There's no doubt that they're mad. They're very expressive. They cuss, they yell, they throw things, they hit, they let it fly. These people are the exploders.
Start with the exploder. The exploder is the person who can't hold it in. Gotta verbalize, gotta express. They yell, they scream, they curse, they may throw stuff.
The second kind of anger, besides the machine gun, is what I call the mutes. Now, the mutes are the exact opposite. They don't blow up, they clam up. And they always refuse to admit it when you're angry. I can see you're angry, honey. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. You're angry. I am not angry.
The imploder is the opposite. The imploder never wants to talk about it. The imploder will never even admit that he's angry.
Now, the third kind of anger response, and many of you are this, is the martyrs. And the martyrs are pros at holding pity parties. And they announce a pity party and invite themselves to it.
The martyr doesn't explode, but the martyr certainly is not silent. The martyr tends to focus their anger inwards on themselves. And this is the woe is me person, the victim person, the pity, the play me a violin for the pity party person.
And if you walk around saying, I should, I must, I have to, I ought, and you're always shoulding yourself, then you're going to be a martyr because you're going to blame yourself.
This is the person who gets angry and usually condemns themselves. I must be a bad mom. I must be a bad husband. I must be a bad son. I must be doing something wrong. Like, I'm bad. It's my fault. If I was better, this wouldn't have happened.
You got anybody like this in your family? They have to be coaxed. They have to be pleaded with. They have to be pampered. They make everybody else miserable. If they're not happy, they don't want anybody else happy. They ruin all the family parties. They're martyrs.
Because you are constantly pleading with them. You're constantly begging them not to be upset, not to take it personally. You're constantly begging them to come back.
Now, the fourth kind of anger is what I call the manipulators. The manipulators. And the motto of the manipulators is don't get mad, get even.
The manipulator. Their motto is don't get mad, get even.
Now, manipulators will never tell you to your face they're angry with you. But they're going to do it subtly. They're going to do it slyly. They're going to do it sarcastically. They're indirect with jibes and cuts.
And manipulators, again, kind of like the imploder, will never say they're angry. They'll never say. Manipulator will do is they love to be around you because they can push your buttons.
And when they do say something to you that's hurtful or something mean, and you actually call them on it, they say, can't you take a joke?
Get you to explode, and then they would say, oh, you say, oh, I'm not upset, I'm just joking, we're just having fun. Like, why are you getting all upset? They'll jab, and they say, no, it's the problem. Snarky comment here, okay? A little shot right there.
Now, religious people can be really good at this one because they couch all of their anger in spiritual terms. I was grieved in my spirit.
Watch out for those manipulators. You know who's the worst manipulators? Religious people, spiritual people. The worst manipulators are the people who use Bible verses and spiritual terms to manipulate other people.
Out of the book of Proverbs. Proverbs 25:28 says this. If you cannot control your anger, you are as helpless as a city without walls.
Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28 says, whoever has no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down without walls.
Open to attack. You are defenseless. People will manipulate your life. Do you realize that when you say, you make me so mad, you are admitting at that point those people are controlling your life. You are admitting that they are stronger than you, that you are weak. When you say, you make me, in other words, you have an ability to control my emotions.
You want me to tell you what's a very weak position to be in, emotionally or relationally? The position where you say, you make me so mad. That's a very weak position to be in. That's a very weak position because what you've said is, I don't have control. I'm just a pawn. I'm just a leaf blowing in the wind.
Learned how to get angry that way. And it's not very helpful. None of those ways are actually helpful at all. And you can unlearn them.
The way you respond to anger oftentimes is a learned.
Anger is a learned response. You learned it from other people. Maybe bad examples, but you learned it from others. You learned it from television, you learned it from movies, you learned it from your parents, from other people in your life. And the good news is that since it's learned, it can be unlearned.
It is something that you learn from your parents. Maybe you learned it from like a brother or sister. Maybe you learned it from the TV. Maybe that's just how your culture is. It's usually a learned behavior. So the good thing is, if there's a behavior that's learned, it can be unlearned.
How do you disarm the person who uses these against you?
That's what our goal is going to be here in this series, is to unlearn all of those ways.
This is a big one, is think before reacting.
We will pause before reacting. You know, like we teach our kids to think before they speak, and then we become adults, and we never think before we speak. One of the things that I've always believed, okay, and I realize I'm going to tell you advice right now that most people will tell you the exact opposite. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying this works for me. This is what I see works for relationships. And this is what I advise people oftentimes when they find themselves struggling with anger, specifically in marriage, but could be in any context. You know the advice of never go to bed angry? I don't know who wrote that. Probably someone who's single is what I would imagine.
And let me give you 3 questions to ask while you're waiting, okay? Write these down. 3 questions. Number 1, why am I angry?
I thought of 3 questions that you can ask yourself when you're taking that time out. First thing, ask yourself, why am I angry?
Why am I angry? Number two, he asks the question, what do I really want?
Number two, not just why am I angry? Number two, what do I want to accomplish here?
Why am I angry? What do I really want? And number three, how can I get it?
If so, number three, how do I get to that point?
Number two, look past their words to their pain.
And go deeper. What I mean by that is we're going to go past words to feelings.
Proverbs 19, verse 11. A man's wisdom gives him patience. It is to his glory, to his credit, to overlook an offense. See, you're wise if you don't listen to the words, but you look at the pain behind the words. A man's wisdom gives us patience. Now, I said this many times, hurt people hurt people.
Proverbs 19, verse 11. The discretion of a man makes him slow to anger, and his glory is to overlook an offense. Maybe you've heard this saying before. Hurt people hurt people.
When somebody's hurting you, it's because they've been hurt and they are still hurting. Unkind people are people who've never felt kindness.
Hurt people hurt people. Unkind people have probably been treated without kindness.
Unloving people are people who feel unloved. When somebody is rude, bitter, unkind, sarcastic, mean-spirited, arrogant, attacking, they are shouting with all of their behaviors, I need massive doses of love.
Snarky people are probably dealt with in snarky ways. Sarcastic people grew up in sarcastic homes. Like it just, the example just keeps on going. You know, if I can kind of be honest right here, we're just amongst friends right here. I say this, I get criticized a lot. Not by you, okay? At least not knowingly by you, maybe by you, okay? But there's a lot of people who criticize me and don't like me. And a lot of people are very angry, okay, on the internet. And they criticize me. There are people out there, did you know, that watch every single one of my sermons, just to find something wrong. You know how much anger you have to do that, and a lot of time, obviously, as well, because they kind of go back historically. You gotta have a lot of anger to listen to every sermon of a guy that you hate. Like, there's just the logic of it, like, and I'll be honest, there are times I'm tempted to hate back and to angry back and to criticize back because I'm good with words, so I can hold my own. But I made a decision. I will not give anyone. I will not give anyone. I know they're probably going to watch this sermon, so I'll talk to the camera, okay? I will not give anyone the satisfaction of being my enemy.